If I was going to defeat the bosses of the arcs and ascend to our next challenge, I was going to need some fierce creatures, and after learning the new ways of breeding, I was going to make sure that I had the strongest bears that I could. This learning curve would lead me to feeling confident in completing our tasks with some of the strongest creatures on the arc, and defeating Rockwell aboard the Genesis simulations. Today was breeding day for the dire bears I was going to use against some of the bosses, and since last time, I now knew what I was doing, and I will try and explain shortly the most effective method I have found in mutating your creatures. However, first, I took out Austin Powers, my Anki, over to the volcano, harvesting plenty of metal as I didn't want to fall behind on resources. Arriving back though, I lit the forge and began breeding my dire bears to get as many females as I could, which, to help with your breeding if you're unsure how to do this like I was, I will explain how and why I do this so that you can create monsters from your dinos. I mentioned previously how to get your breeding pair, but once you have these, after some breeding, put all of the females you get, making certain that none of them have mutations, surrounding the male as many as you can, but make sure that you can still reach your male as you will need to swap them out. Also, as a side note, make sure to keep your first parents for the traits and your original breed pair in case anything happens. However, once you have your male and all of your females, if you want to speed up the process but be slightly overwhelmed by babies, unless you have the Dino Depot tech available, make more piles of females with spaces for the male, one for each stat that you want to mutate. Perhaps you would have one for health, one for stamina, one for weight and one for melee, and make sure they are all separate and won't interfere with each other. And again, make sure none of these females are mutated, as this will mess up your whole breeding line. Now I will explain what I'm doing to get health and melee mutations, but if you want any more like stamina, just add another pack of females to do this with. Now, once you breed the non-mutated male with all of the non-mutated females, eventually you will get a mutated male in the stat that you want. So let's say in this example, it's health. You put the health mutated male with a separate pack of females and let them breed up. And then when you get the melee mutated male from the original parents, as we are only looking for 2 stats here, you may swap out the original breeding male with the melee mutation, but make sure to keep the original safe, just in case you want to do another stat at any other time. Now, during this process, you do not want to swap or change out any females, no matter what you get, as these all possess 0 mutation points from both the mother's and father's side, therefore allowing you to continue breeding any stat as high as you'd like. The way this works is, if either parent has less than 20 mutation points, then there is a chance of a mutation happening. So if your male reaches the point of having 20 mutations in each, you can still get mutations due to your females being below that. So with that knowledge, now all you have to do is swap out your males every time you get the correct mutation. So for your health mutated males, once you have a baby with only 2 mutations and both are in health, swap that out and try for a third, repeating this as many times as you can until you're happy. Now, once you are happy with the mutations you have on each, you'll want to keep both mutated males. So for this example, let's say you have a male with 20 melee mutations and one with 20 health mutations. Once one of them has a female child with those stats, let's say a female with 20 melee mutations, you'll now want to take that female and breed it with the health mutated male until eventually you will have your dino with both 20 melee and 20 health mutations. You could do this the slower way by breeding the original male and 1 pack of females, getting males with each of the separate stat mutations you want, and once you have them, swap out the original male with, let's say, health for now, and then do that one by one for each mutated stat. If you are trying to combine more than 2 mutated stats, however, for each of the mutations bar 1, you should get a female for each of them. So you have the male and female. So once they breed up and combine, no matter what gender they are, they can mutate and breed and combine their stats with the other mutated that you have without too much hassle. Now, getting back to what I was actually doing in my day, on top of this, I was making sure to keep to the side any color mutations that I got, so that I could create ones that I like the look of, and not like Ocean Man the Barry from the other day. I was getting some great but also crazy colours, whilst also making sure I was getting a breeding pair for the Uties, as I wanted that one over and done with as quickly as I could. Like I said, I was breeding my bears with health mutations and melee mutations, and things were actually going really well throughout the day. In between breeding, I was taking out Flash to gather food from the seas and the land. However, after some time, I bred up a fully coloured Syntac bear, whom I named Dr. Evil to go out with my Anki, Austin Powers. However, towards the end of the day, I headed out again for more meat. These babies sure do eat a lot, but for the first time ever, I spied a unicorn. I tried to tame this walking up and hopping on with the Mejo berries, but as it was running around, an Oviraptor of all things began to attack and forced me to restart. However, I'm glad it did, as nearby there was a drop, which, to my luck, contained citronelle, and using that meant that I was able to tame my first unicorn, which I'm never going to use, but it had to be done. At the end of the day though, I had made great progress with the bears, displaying the different coloured mutations I was possibly going to use, and having already good health and melee on them before finally calling it a night. If you'd like to see me record these videos live, then make sure to check out my streams right here most Wednesdays and Fridays, with some occasional weekend streams. These are weekly videos that will follow this story, and don't forget to hit that like button if you want to help this channel grow. I really do appreciate it, and finally, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of the content here, and I will catch you all in the next one.